I like when Steve Cordasco shares anecdotes about our listeners. It lets me know who's out there and listening and who's out there listening and taking my advice and relying on Steve. For example, a couple of my listeners from Houston, both in their second marriage, each with grown children who didn't get along. Parents have considerable assets. There was a sizable dispute brewing among the kids. They needed estate planning. So what did they do? They called Steve Cordasco, the Cordasco Financial Network, which is part of Mercer Advisors. The estate planning team put together a comprehensive estate plan to help ensure the parents' intentions were met. All the necessary documents were drafted. They saved in legal fees and now can be certain that their estate will not be disputed. You should do likewise. 855-558-3500. The Cordasco Financial Network, that's a trade name owned by Mercer Global Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Andrew Garrett, Inc., which is not affiliated with Cordasco Financial Network or Mercer. Client experiences will vary. Successful outcomes are not guaranteed. Time now for the headlines from Smerconish.com, the newsletter. 9 weeks. You know, we're all kind of thrown off kilter here because of Labor Day having been yesterday. Today is Tuesday, meaning it's 9 weeks from today, finally, the midterms.
That's actually crazy. All right, so the prognosticator, if you had to guess now, right now, 9 weeks out, House, Senate, what are we doing here? Who's keeping what?
Despite all the intangibles, and I'm going to discuss some of those intangibles right now, I feel fairly secure in saying that Republicans will retake the House of Representatives.
Okay.
Albeit maybe not by the margins that had been anticipated. 26 is the number. I think since World War II, the party outside the White House gains that average number of seats in the House. There have been, I think, 3 exceptions to that. I don't think that Democrats can maintain control of the House of Representatives as of today, and this is all subject to change.
Sure.
But where previously, like if you had asked me that 5 weeks ago, actually, if you had asked me that before Dobbs, before Roe versus Wade was overturned, I would have said that I thought it would have exceeded the 26. Now I don't know, but I mean, they only need 5.
Right.
So will they get the 5? They'll get the 5. And in the Senate, as of today, subject to change, but you're asking me a specific question, so I'll give you a specific answer. I think Democrats maintain control of the U.S. Senate.
Wow.
I think that some of the candidates who've been put forth, including in Pennsylvania, and, you know, who knows, maybe Oz pulls an upset victory. I want to talk about that as well. But I would have to give the edge to the D's in the Senate. And, you know, the largest intangible of all, TC, is Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And whether Donald Trump is going to take what would have been a referendum on Biden's economy and make it more of a referendum on Trumpism, which is what Biden is seeking to do by focusing on MAGA Republicans.
He wants very much for that to happen.
I'll tell you an interesting story. I hope it's interesting. So yesterday I went to the Apple store.
Okay.
Close to us.
Sure.
And I wanted to purchase Apple AirTags.
Really?
We talked about them.
You're going for it?
Yeah.
For what? Luggage?
I was going to put one in your satchel and one in my own briefcase. Okay?
Okay.
So they were sold out.
Interesting.
They were sold out.
It's so hot right now. That doesn't surprise me.
So there was a nice guy. Who waited on me, albeit for a split second, just to tell me they were sold out. And then he said to me, so are they going to get them before the election?
Oh, so he recognized you.
Yeah. And I said, which election? And he said, the November election. And I said, oh, easy one. No. If you asked me that about the 2024 election, then I really couldn't give you an answer. But I feel very secure in giving you an answer that nothing of significance is going to happen with regard. And I'm talking about the Justice Department. I can't speak for what's going on in Fulton County, Georgia. But relative to Merrick Garland and justice, whether it's January 6th or whether it's Mar-a-Lago related, I feel secure in saying that nothing of significance is going to happen on the Trump watch. Two pieces that I would direct people's attention to. One was Charlie Savage in the New York Times over the weekend. As midterms near, election rule raises dilemma for Trump inquiries. And the lead of the story said, as the midterm elections near, top Justice Department officials are weighing whether to temporarily scale back work in criminal investigations involving former President Donald J. Trump because of an unwritten rule forbidding overt actions that could improperly influence the vote, according to people briefed on the discussions, under what is known as the 60-day rule. The department has traditionally avoided taking any steps in the run-up to an election that could affect how people vote out of caution that such moves could be interpreted as abusing its power to manipulate American democracy. Notice that the first paragraph that I read said, by virtue of this unwritten rule, weighing whether to temporarily scale back work involving former President Trump because of an unwritten rule forbidding overt actions. None of this stuff is black and white, and to the extent it's black and white, it does not preclude an indictment of Donald Trump between now and 9 weeks from now. But I don't think it happens, and I'll explain in just a moment. That's piece number one. The second piece in the more recent news, and this got handed down yesterday, I'll go with the Washington Post, which is linked at Smerconish.com. Judge to appoint special master to review Trump's Mar-a-Lago documents. A federal judge will appoint a special master to sift through nearly 13,000 documents and items the FBI seized from Donald Trump's Florida residence and identify any that might be protected by attorney-client or executive privilege. I said when we were last together that I thought this was a stall technique by President Trump, former President Trump. They just want to slow this whole process down. Interestingly, the judge, and many point out, federal judge appointed, Judge Cannon, interesting, TC, Judge Cannon appointed by...
No relation.
So you say. You're all related. Appointed by Donald Trump, noted the inquiry of Mr. Trump needed to be undertaken with particular care and deference, placing him in his own category as a function of plaintiff's former position as President of the United States. The stigma associated with the subject seizure is in a league of its own. She also noted that because of the search of Mar-a-Lago, Trump faced unquantifiable potential harm by way of improper disclosure of sensitive information to the public. So it was really all that Trump could have asked for in that opinion. But most importantly, it just puts the brakes on an aspect of the Mar-a-Lago Merrick Garland investigation. Doesn't mean they have to stop other aspects, but relative to the documents seized, it puts the brakes on things. So that's a big reason why I don't expect there to be anything done in the next 9 weeks relative to the president. But something else, they speak of the unwritten rule, saying don't rock the boat 60 days out from the election. If you want to go to the written rules, it's really not even binding. They're memoranda. And they start with Michael Mukasey, who was Attorney General on W's watch. So it was Mukasey in 2012, Eric Holder in 2016, Loretta Lynch on Bill Clinton's watch, and then Bill Barr went in a slightly different direction. But all three of those that I initially named had the same language. 3 memoranda issued by attorneys general saying that the Justice Department employees, quote, may never select the timing of investigative steps or criminal charges for the purposes of affecting an election or for the purpose of giving an advantage or disadvantage to any candidate or political party. I read that as meaning don't act if your intention is to impact the outcome of an election. But you can act if your intention is not to influence the outcome of the election. I mean, literally, that's what it means. But the practical implication of it is they don't want to rock the boat. But nothing stops them from indicting. And I got to put in this mix, not only Donald Trump, and I'm not establishing parity between the two, but also Hunter Biden. I mean, neither of them. Take a look at Smerconish.com today, because the Miranda Devine story about Bobulinski from yesterday's New York Post is in Smerconish.com today. Remember when I attempted to interview Bobulinski here on radio?
I do.
Googled me, said you're a CNN guy, forget
Done.
it.
Right.
Done.
That was it.
Yeah. I just wanted to give him an opportunity to tell the story, and I have questions.
Right.
But here's my point. My point is Donald Trump's not on the ballot. Hunter Biden is not on the ballot. You could make an argument that they should not. they should not be afforded the privilege, if that's what it is, of these Justice Department guidelines that say, don't rock the boat within 60 days. But one's the son of the president, and one's the former president and potentially future president.
And therefore, they are on the ballot in a way. And And the media has certainly put them both on the ballot. And isn't that has always been your pitch about who's really running the politics game around here? So we see these monitors in our radio studio, and it's Hunter Biden and Trump all day long.
All day long.
All day long.
Yeah. Depending on which channel you're watching.
Correct. That's my point.
That's what they look like, TC. That's the Mukasey memo. That's the Michael Mukasey memo from 2008. Simply put, politics must play no role in the decisions of federal investigations or prosecutors regarding any investigations or criminal charges. Law enforcement officers and prosecutors may never select the timing of investigative steps or criminal charges for the purpose of affecting any election or for the purpose of giving an advantage or disadvantage to a candidate or political party. Such a purpose is inconsistent with the department's mission and the principles of federal prosecution.
But if it's not the purpose,
that's not my intention.
Okay, but it's the outcome. You know it's going to be the outcome.
Yeah.
So therefore,
it's not imagine you're a prosecutor and you've got the goods. Forget Donald Trump or Hunter Biden for a moment. On someone running for Congress or the U.S. Senate.
Right.
Okay. Hey, my intention is not to impact the election in 9 weeks, but I have the goods. It's my job. I believe I've got a case, then I can win it.
What a mess. It's a mess.
Can I bring it? Yeah, theoretically, you can. And then Bill Barr came along. I said that Barr sort of took it in his own direction. Barr then, in his memo, got a whole file of all these memos, said no investigation, including any preliminary investigation, may be opened or initiated by the department or any of its law enforcement agencies of a declared candidate for president or vice president, a presidential campaign, or a senior presidential campaign staff member or advisor, absent prior written notification to and consultation with, and then he lists a number of people. Bottom line is, Barr said you can't go opening an investigation or initiating any kind of significant legal step in one that's already open unless you go up the food chain, all the way to the Attorney General of the United States. So that is my long-winded way of saying that for the next 9 weeks, do I expect that there will be revelations pertaining to the Trump investigation or the Hunter Biden investigation or somebody else out there running? I do. Do I think anybody's getting indicted? I don't. For those reasons, I told the gentleman at Apple yesterday, I don't expect anything to happen on that front in the next 9 weeks.
And are you going to get AirTags somewhere else? Have you ordered them? When can I expect to have one in my bag? I'm just asking.
You won't know when I put it in your bag. It will be surreptitiously.
No, I have a scanner.
It will be right. You'll use a blue light.
Exactly.
You'll use a blue light to make sure I've not put one in your bag.
Crime scene.
By the way, I have to say, I mentioned Fetterman a moment ago. There is, and of course, this was a very active weekend, and you had Trump in front of thousands of people. It was like redux of the campaign,
right,
because he was at Mohegan Sun in Wilkes-Barre, huge crowd. And then you had Biden almost as if he were back in Wilmington in the gymnasium yesterday, except he was in Western Pennsylvania, and there were only like 100 people there. And I tuned in on C-SPAN. I saw some of Trump, albeit on a delay, and I wanted to see Biden, and I also wanted to see Fetterman.
And what is your review of the three of them?
Well, I'd rather focus just on Fetterman, the Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania, because there is an editorial in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette today that is like verbatim transcript of me here last Thursday.
What's the headline?
Beneath campaign nastiness, legitimate concerns about Fetterman's health.
Yes, that is exactly
Which is to say,
what you've been saying.
Hey, Oz, my word, you were asinine in the way you addressed
this.
Tell you.
Yes.
Okay? But there is an issue there.
Right.
And the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette...
And it's legitimate to raise it.
The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette says this: if Mr. Fetterman is not well enough to debate his opponent, that raises serious concerns about his ability to serve as a United States Senator. None of this excuses the antics of Oz's campaign, which has decided that their candidate will benefit from dragging the race deeper and deeper into the muck. The low point thus far is the Oz campaign's cruelly satirical concession that it will fund any additional medical personnel Fetterman might need to have on standby. Mr. Oz is pressing the issue in an adolescent manner. Did I not say on CNN's Sophomore?
You did say that. But it's also interesting that they say Mr. Oz, not Dr. Oz. Do they say Mr.?
Well, they're like the Wall Street Journal style book. Yeah. Nevertheless, a live debate is the best way to assure voters Fetterman is up to the job. The Republicans' antics have given Mr. Fetterman a plausible out. He won't share the stage with someone who's behaved so shamefully, but that won't cut it. Ooh. Is that not exactly what I said?
And then everybody says that you're anti-Fetterman.
Yes!
To be clear.
Oh, good. Then the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette must be anti-Fetterman, too.
Speaking of which, a headline at Fox News, which I didn't think was fair to you, but I wanted to know what you thought.
Well, I'm sure I won't think it's fair to me.
This is a piece that quotes you on Fetterman, exactly what you've just been saying.
Okay.
Headline, liberal media...
I disagree already.
Honestly, I'm done. Okay. Liberal media largely defends Fetterman's skipping Oz debate over stroke remarks, but some are calling him out. And
I hope I'm the one who's calling him out.
So then you're quoted as saying, I'm scrolling down to see where you are. Okay, hang on. They've got a lot
This
to say.
probably would have been taken from...
CNN.
Yeah, there you go. Because they want to say, oh, he's a CNN guy.
CNN political commentator Michael Smerconish said Fetterman's health was a, quote, legitimate concern, but also called Oz's comments asinine and sophomoric.
Yes.
Quote, this may end up being the benefit of Fetterman because we all know someone who has suffered a stroke, and Oz, through his response to this, I think has made Fetterman more sympathetic, he added.
Yes,
so
that's
you are
true.
one of the liberal media.
Okay, but that is indeed what I said, that Oz's response was so ridiculous, he may have taken something that would benefit his campaign and turned it into a negative for Oz and a plus for Fetterman. Listen, TC.
Liberal media largely defends Fetterman's skipping Oz debate.
Listen, I watched Fetterman in Pittsburgh yesterday.
How's he doing?
He's got issues. He's got issues.
Yeah.
And he's
But he
now
said that he has issues, that he's working through it, that his brain is okay, but it's an auditory.
He has said that when pushed as to where the acceptance is to these 5 debates.
Yeah.
But he's become more sympathetic because of Oz, but I am with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is with me.
You.
Oz pressing the issue
from the very
in
beginning.
an adolescent manner. Yes, nevertheless, a live debate is the best way to assure voters Fetterman's up to the job. The Republicans' antics have given Fetterman a plausible out. He won't share that's what Fetterman is saying. Oh, well, I can't share the stage with Oz because he's such an ass.
Right, and everybody's saying, he is.
But he is.
Right.
But that won't cut it.
What a mess.
Oz may be an ass. You still have an obligation to debate. In my opinion.
Well, there you can't say it any more simply than that.
Yeah, exactly. Can we end on a happy note?
What is our happy note that we're ending on?
Okay, so the happy note is Nandy Bushell.
Oh, she makes me so happy.
Do you want to tell the story? I mean, I know the news from the UK is the new prime minister. I think the bigger news from the UK is the 12-year-old American who drummed again with the Foo Fighters at Wembley.
Yep.
At Dave Grohl's invitation at a Taylor Hawkins tribute concert. Taylor Hawkins' son also drummed. Amazing. Dave Grohl recruited the young drum star one more time to help perform Learn to Fly with the band. The frontman talked about their iconic lockdown drum battle and then introduced Nandy as the coolest effing drummer in the world, as well as enthusing that she's the biggest rock star on the bill. I know we got Queen and Rush and all that shit, he said, but we got Nandy tonight.
If you want pure joy, follow this young woman, not even young woman, follow this girl. She's 12.
And
follow
what personality?
Nandy on Instagram or Twitter.
12-year-old.
She's amazing. Here's how she finished it off. And you can hear the people cheering in the background. And she is just wailing on these drums. You could barely see her over the drums. And then she stands up and both sticks up in the air and it's just unbelievable. Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
12 years old. reminds
crazy.
me. It reminds me of seeing John Anderson twice in the last couple of weeks.
The energy of those kids.
And being so excited to see him with the Paul Green Academy of Rock.
Yeah.
And I said I would rather watch John Anderson supported by the kids from Paul Green's Rock Academy. What is it? Rock Academy?
Paul Green's
Look up Paul Green and Rock and you'll get there. Than I would with the surviving
Paul Green Rock Academy.
Rock Academy.
Yeah, say it right.
And here, funny thing, and I'll stop at this.
Okay.
So I saw the Paul Green Rock Academy and John Anderson deliver Close to the Edge on the 50th anniversary, TC.
Yep.
At two different venues recently. One was the Keswick Theater.
Right.
Okay? I saw an ad in the last couple of days.
Who?
Close to the Edge, 50th anniversary, performed in its entirety at the Keswick Theater, same theater. It's not John Anderson, it's the surviving members of Yes who have the name to the band.
Wow.
And I said to myself, I think I got the better end of the stick seeing John Anderson with the kids. No disrespect to Steve Howe.
You might have to go to that too.
Huh?
You might have to go to that one too.
I don't know. I'm old and tired. Ladies and gentlemen, today's poll question at Smerconish.com. Agree or disagree? America needs more ranked choice voting. Thank you to everybody who bought tickets and those on the waiting list for the Unconvention on Friday, October 7 in Philly. Just makes my heart proud to know how quickly so many bought those seats. I thank you. I know my colleague Steve Scully thanks you as well. See ya.